Hello everyone and welcome back to World of Warships. I am your host, Captain Edward John Smith, and today we are taking out the Giulio Cesare, the Tier 5 Italian premium battleship. We are on the map Fault Line, and it is a Tier 7 match, so being Tier 5, we're bottom tier. As you can probably tell by the Belfast division, this is going to be fun and games all around, but we'll see how we do. We're currently on the north side of the map, and we've spawned pretty much in the middle, so I've made the decision to assist the push towards A. A little bit of the thought process that went into that. There is a Belfast division moving towards C, and they're supporting an Akatsuki destroyer. Japanese destroyers are pretty sneaky, and the Belfasts are just, well, they're just ridiculous. So I'm putting some faith in them that they'll be able to handle the situation over that end, but the fact that there's three of them divisioned together probably is a bit of a red flag. Also, our carriers are on this side of the map. There are two carriers either side, and I believe they're both tier 6s. So it's in my interest to try and swat away any attacks coming up the left side of the map, up the west side of the map, in order to keep our air superiority intact. Also, there are two destroyers here, a Hatsuharu and a Mayhan, moving into A, supported by the Scharnhorst, which I hope to join up with in time. Opening stages of the match, we have an air battle beginning over the north side of A. The Akatsuki has moved into C, closely followed by the Belfast division, and they have found the enemy Akatsuki. That was a missed call on my part. Our friendly Mutsuki has moved into the cap and is engaging the enemy Akatsuki, who is supported by a Shores, an Indianapolis, and a Nelson. We see some shots coming in. I'm guessing those are forward towards the Scharnhorst, piloted by the one and only Fecal Magnet. That's a ripper of a name right there. And we are continuing towards the point. We have eyes on the two enemy Tier 7 battleships, the Gneisenau's, heading up into A. And it looks like things are really heating up here. Mr. Sketch has just taken first blood, taking out the enemy Akatsuki, pushing into the point. And here I was just sort of moving the camera around, taking a look at things, and I noticed that the nameplate on the side of the ship says Giulio Cesare. I'm not I don't know. I didn't know you could do that. Maybe that's how it's pronounced, but that's neither here nor there. It's a beautiful ship all the same. But anyway, back to focus. Dalaroy and the Mayhem has just torped Evil Ash in the Hatsuharu, and the Shores has just taken out the Mitsuki, so we are down destroyers as the Gneisenau comes into range. I pause briefly to assess the situation in chat while our carrier takes out the enemy Gaida. I'm now detected, so there's no point in being demure about things. So I center my line over the front front Gneisenau, decide it's not much of a good shot, and shift aim. Volley 1 comes in on me, takes a little bit of paint off. Volley 2 gets sent. I get 3.2k on the Gneisenau. You can see his shells coming in there. Bit of a frame drop there while his shells plunge below the waterline and take off 4,000 of my own health. You can see by the hailstorm coming in that the enemy Atlanta has locked onto my position and is giving me the good news. So I naturally swing the ship out, trying to get the rear guns working and point it in on this guy. I take a crack at him, but unfortunately he's already started varying his speed, so it's not going to be a very successful volley. I only score 1940 on him, while I in turn am damaged to the point where I'm now in yellow health. Match is barely 5 minutes old, and I'm already hurting. So I decide to pop a heal. And we are moving into A still, slowly but surely. I've had to bleed off some speed from those maneuvers as that destroyer keeps peppering me from the smoke. Luckily his torpedoes fall short. Thank God I didn't eat one of them, otherwise this match would have taken a very different turn. As you can see, there are a number of enemy ships moving into the A cap, supported by air cover from their carrier. They have an Atlanta, they have two Gneisenau's, and they have a Congo moving in at full speed. All we have here is Fecal Magnet and his Scharnhorst, and that Mayhem by Dalaroy, who appears to have gotten himself into a bit of a pickle there. He's taking a couple of nasty hits. Shion Destroyer in the Shores takes out Statue in the Belfast, and Boshek 1 takes out Screwdriver in the Indianapolis. So it's really kicking off on that side. You can see on the minimap the number of aircraft squads moving in there as I run myself aground. This is tactically the worst possible thing I could have done, given the fact that I'm side-on to multiple battleships, I'm detected, and TPD Niskaga takes out the T-22. I can see the good news coming for me, and I just gotta grit my teeth and take it. 7k, 3k, lost 11k health there. I'm yelling at them in chat, avert your eyes as Boshek gets taken down. That's 2 Belfasts we've lost already as the Atlanta comes around the corner. I am now just above half health. The match isn't even... The match is just over 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes old. And I'm in a bit of a rough position here as the Atlanta comes steaming into Cap A. He's in the zone, he's capping it, and he's beginning to light me up. Taking advantage of the island cover between myself and him and the, frankly, stratospheric trajectory of his shells. And I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing from the damage that I'm taking, he might be running an experienced captain with IFHE skilled. My repair party is working, getting back as much health as I can, and I pop damage control in order to get rid of that fire. Now, I know normally you're supposed to wait for 2 fires, but my logic here was that Atlanta is too close to the rock now to mark shots at me without smacking them into the side of that island, so I've got a bit of breathing room there. I have other issues to worry about as well, though. This Gneisenau has got me firmly in his sights, and try as I might to keep the ship angled, I believe, yes, there they come. He takes a shot at me, and here they come in. I can't really vary my speed or my heading at that point, but luckily they all fall short. And I'm conscious of the fact that that Atlanta's got my number dialed in, as the Gneisenau does land a nasty hit on me and takes off a little bit more of my health. Now I'm pretty sure I'm either below or just below, or just above, sorry, half health, as that other Gneisenau marks some more shots into me. Atlanta fires again, sets a fire, but he's up a certain creek without a paddle because he started reversing while in full view of my guns. Battleship dispersion finally comes through for me as the Citadel hit into an incapacitation, gives me a second Citadel, takes out the Atlanta, and I land the devastating strike. First kill of the match, feels good. Though it wasn't really a strategically good play on my part. It was more just myself exploiting his mistakes. But I guess that's part and parcel of it. And speaking of mistakes, I make the mistake of angling my ship flat against the approaching Gneisenau pair as I run my second repair and my damage control yet again, trying to claw back a little bit of health from the amount of fire I've taken at the beginning of this match. Enemy air groups coming in, going for the Scharnhorst. For the life of me, I don't know why they didn't try and finish me off, but here we go. I'm lining up a second shot on this guy and getting ready to take it. Heal is done. I have another bracket of healing ready, and I take first round, second round. Didn't lead him as much as I needed to. 4k into 5k. That's 11 all up. Not that bad, as Fecal Magnet takes a torpedo. That Gneisenau has my number dialed in, but if he's shooting at me, at least he's not shooting at my buddy in the Scharnhorst. But something else that is shooting at me is that Congo over there. I had completely forgotten about him. And this coming as the eastern flank appears to have folded up like a cheap suit. That Congo's got me dialed in, and I have to angle against the Congo because the Gneisenau appears to be assigning his attention to the Scharnhorst. Fecal Magnet has sent off his torpedoes, but unfortunately Nasty Wrath in the Gneisenau has just hit Fecal Magnet with the torps, taking him out, just as that Congo takes out a little bit more of my health, and brings me down to 59 hit points. Don't adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. We are at double digits. This is not a situation I want to be in, but we're here now, and we got to deal with it. That Gneisenau takes a shot at me, and I think that it's all over for me, but his shots land right in the drink. I think I went undetected there for a moment as my shells sail in and score fair damage. 6 hits, 1 shatter, but 4 overpens for 4k. I'll take that number. Thank God that armor blocking shots, and the Gneisenau here is under pressure from our carrier group who's dropping on top of him, which is excellent. So that was just my office chair. Gneisenau takes one torpedo hit. I take a shot at him. I know you're not supposed to fire armor piercing at the bow of a battleship, but that's the best I can do given the circumstances, and I'm not going to wait 30 seconds to reload my guns. I need to get damage out on him now. Luckily for me, that Congo whiffed his shot, but unluckily for me, I have some air coming in on my own. And you can't see it here because of the peccadillos of the World of Warships replay system, but I primary these dive bomber squadrons and hope for the best. I've pulled my ship into a hard right side turn, attempting to minimize the amount of area that these guys drop onto. I'm just keeping track of it, but I have my damage control ready if needed. It's not needed. All of those bombs just go harmlessly into the drink. This Gneisenau is now moving up. I think he's trying to press the advantage with our carriers, but it also looks like he's beginning to turn, which is exactly what I need to happen as I move in and try and secure this point. Now, I'm under no impressions here. This is a Tier 7 battleship specialized for close-ranged combat, and I am in what can only be described as a marshmallow of a ship. As he takes shots at me and my armor holds out a little bit, I realize that comment might be a bit premature, but this was the thought process at the time. If I can get into Cap A, at the very least I can deny the enemy some points, and all I need to do is deny the enemy enough points to justify putting myself at risk. I take a shot at him, one shatter, one connection, 3k. And it's at that moment I see the carrier making a very close advance into the point. I think for myself, what is he doing? He must be out of planes. Well, we'll find out more about him as the match evolves. But coming up on the Gneisenau now, I know that I need to nose in on him in order to minimize the profile that I'm presenting, as well as to use my armor to its best effect. I asked the carrier if he's able to drop torps on the Gneisenau, and he is obliging. You could see that guy had me dialed in, but he's turned his guns in order to look at the bombers that are coming in off of his left side. And look at this drop. There it goes. We got a good number of fish heading towards him, and how many connections do we get? We get one. It's better than nothing, because now now his health is lower than mine. And he sent some shots towards me, but finally, my armor's coming in handy. It won't stop anything from the side, but it's finally stopping things coming at me from the front. I take a crack at him. Look at that grouping. Had that been a bit lower, that probably would have been a kill, but I'm not worried about it. 3 contacts and 2 overpens, and our carrier finishes him off. And now, for more fun and games, we have the Hiryu here. I genuinely wasn't expecting this, and I certainly wasn't expecting him to come into the cap, but it looks like this is the situation that we have now. We are now up 5 ships to the enemy's 3, but they have cap and point advantage, so I guess he was hoping that if he could get me, he would at least keep this cap in his team's hands. The enemy dive bombers launch from his deck, but drop their payload impotently into the water around my ship and not onto it, thankfully, as I let fly another salvo into his nose. And this is where it gets interesting, because he knows the only opportunity he has is to ram. And there it is. A hair's breadth, but it's there. And naturally, okay, this isn't a replay bug. I actually stopped swiveling my camera around so that I could trash talk this guy. It's not the best thing that I've done, but it's something. I'm getting my guns around as another squadron of dive bombers gets off his deck. Back guns ready. Let him rip. 1 citadel and 3 overpens, 4 overpens, 2 citadels, 6 secondary hits, and 1 sinking flat top, which is exactly what I want to see. And to add a little bit of insult to his injury, none of his bombs connected. So there you go. The AA on this thing might be completely insufficient, but it comes through when you need it. 1 plane kill. That's what matters. Though I'm sure you saw that incoming aviation from the other carrier, who I'm guessing is none too happy that I caused his buddy's untimely demise. His bombs are a little bit more accurate than the predecessors. They land on me to begin with, and they start a fire. But I'm more concerned about this torpedo bomber coming up on my front here. Just as that remaining Belfast takes out the Congo, who was giving me so much grief earlier. The tarps are dropped in the water, but they're not going to connect. And now, with the death of the Congo, that carrier in the corner is all on his lonesome. He is all in the court with no one to fight for him. And it looks like everybody is converging on his position now. 2 torpedo bomber squadrons and 1 dive bomber squadron supported by a Belfast up against a Ryujo. I know who I'm betting on, as my AA continues ineffectively plinking away at this carrier's lone dive bomber squadron. Just goes to show it's not the best, really isn't the best battleship AA. And we've captured the point. Solo cap too, so we get the experience from it. As the Western whistle comes on in, that old Ennio Morricone leitmotif. Our carrier throws some aircraft at him. Fighter group versus dive bomber group. There's only really one way that can end. And my AA finally decides to get up off its butt and shoot some things down. 3 plane kills. And just like that, the Kaga torps the remaining carrier, the Ryujo, and that is the end of the match. Let's take a look at the post-battle results screen. We have a handsome victory here. 291,752 silver credits, 5,218 ship experience with 261 free. We took the devastating strike out on the Atlanta, and we come away from that with a dreadnought, as we should, crawling ourselves back from the brink of 59 hit points up to the point where we could not only fight, but sink a number of ships. 109,611 damage, personal best with the Giulio, but that's only because I genuinely cannot make her work, and this is a celebration of the first really successful match I had in her. 55 main battery hits, 3 planes shot down, an incapacitation, which was my knocking out the Atlanta's engine, 2 destroyed ships, the Atlanta and the carrier, a single fire set during the course of this match, which was on the carrier again, 4 Citadel hits, 2 for Atlanta, 2 for the carrier, and a solo cap, with 23 secondary armament hits, and I won a combat mission, which was nice. Taking a look at the scoreboard now, I am top of the chart with 2,087 experience, and the last surviving member of that Belfast division comes in a very close second with 2,060, 2 ship kills, 17 plane kills by him, very well done, and our Kaga and Independence finish off the top 4 with Fecal Magnet rounding out the top 5 on our team. Top 5 on the enemy, the Nelson with 4 plane kills and 2 ship kills, the Atlanta with 5 plane kills and 1 ship kill, the Shores, the Hiryu, and the Gneisenau. Good play by all. Taking a look at the detailed report, the Hiryu, 41,000 damage on him, 27,000 damage on the Atlanta, more or less 26,000 on the Gneisenau, and 15,000 on the Gneisenau. Again, split it between them. 59 main battery hits out of 155 fired. That's less than 50% accuracy, which I personally don't like. Most of our damage came from that. A little bit from fire, a little bit from secondary battery. 1.5 million potential damage, and we received almost 74,000 damage. It's almost twice our health. Well, it's 10,000 of twice our health, but that is good. That is a good use of battleship heal right there. Taking a look at the credits and experience, we come away from that with a net gain of 226,000 credits. Of course, a big chunk got deducted for service, ammo resupply, and consumables because I run premium consumables on all of my ships, especially if they're premiums. 2,087 base XP with a couple of sweet modifiers on that brings that up to 5k experience for the ship and her commander, which is good. Only 8k left to that next skill point, Mr. Marco Constantini. There we go. So that's it. A handsome victory and a handsome ship. We have rendered unto Caesar that which is his. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. Keep sailing straight. I will catch you next time.